Hello everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the Workbench for another update on the Ormiston Station building. So I've made some pretty good progress over the past couple of weeks. As you can see, I've got this part of the building is the booking office. So I've got all that side scribed out, that part. As we move around, this part is the station master's accommodation, but this part here is where the waiting room is, because this is where the platform was. Well, was. And then you see I've already made a start on painting it because it's my favourite thing to do and I'm quite impatient, so I just sort of got on and did it. This part from here you probably won't see because I don't actually know what the interior is like, so I don't know if this part was plastered and then maybe there was like some wood panelling down there and some seating. I'd imagine there would have been, but I just like doing it, so I did it anyway. And move around this side where this is where the wash house is going to sit, so I've not bothered painting that. See it all scribed and painted. Got a little bit of touching up to do. Well, I'll say touching up, finishing off, because these corner bricks, and they were painted, well not painted, they were buff coloured, and that should have gone all the way up, so I've got to do just a couple more bricks to properly finish that off. And then moving around to the other side of the building, it's all now sanded and flatted down if you want to give a pretty reasonably flat surface. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, because I mean, if you look at most buildings, the bricks are never perfectly level, so I'm not bothered getting rid of all these low spots, because you know it's just going to add to the texture. So the next part I've got to do is to mark out the brick arches over the top of the windows and the doors, and then mark and inscribe the horizontal courses, which is not my favourite thing to do, because it's just the possibility of introducing an error is, although low, it's never zero. So yeah, I'm going to move on and do that now. I'll just show you how I do that. So this is going to be just a quick-ish, let's say, tutorial or showcase of how I go about scribing, or marking out and scribing the brick arches above the windows and doors. So you can see I've got the mortar courses laid out there. I use a scale rule, 7mm to the foot scale rule. So they're marked out at scale 3 inches. Now I do that first, so I know that this line here represents where one of the keystone brick would be, its highest point. So I could do that course running where that brick ends, so I need to make sure I get that laid out so it all works out in the end. Now you might be able to see, I don't know if you can just see that there, but it just dives off ever so slightly, so it starts out at scale 9 inches there and then just gets slowly but surely slightly less here, but you won't notice that, I don't think, as long as they all sort of marry up and look right. Then you're not really going to notice, and this bit you're not going to see anyway, probably, because it's going to be at the back of wherever I'm going to put it. That's not intentional, that's just going to be the viewing side, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to be able to see the building in 360, how it would have existed. So to do the brick arches, I use a compass to mark it out in pencil first, so they can then mark out the tops of the bricks, the width along there, evenly, so I know where to basically begin and end where the arch is, and then I can scribe the lines in afterwards. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this because I've not got a decent enough tripod to be able to position the camera where I want it and actually be able to work in it at the same time, so we'll see how this goes. The basic principle of marking out your radius is I've marked out a centre line, and that's the centre line of that radius, or the centre point, and that's obviously the centre line. And all I do is then open out the compass to sit in there and hit land on there at the same time, and that's how I've got my radius. It might not be the exact or the correct way to do it, but that's the way I've come up with doing it, and it works for me. So get that in there, and then just get our line across there. Simple as that. Now the next bit, I need to mark out the tops of the bricks. That's not going to be easy to show you, but I'll give it a go anyway. Just get my centre point on there somehow. So that's the centre of the keystone brick, if you will. So again, this is not exact. There's no 1/2 inch measurements on here, so just need to get that as close as possible. Try and do it without my ruler moving. So that's my starting point. I'm not going to show you the rest of it because it's just going to be a massive pain in the backside, but essentially you need to sort of roll the rule around as you go, mark it up till you sort of get to around here, and then we can scribe it out. So sit tight, I'll be back when I've marked it out. Right, I've got all those marked out now, so I know where I can begin and end my scribing points, which is going to be, March is going to start there and end there. So I've got a circle cutter, which are also, with these blades, I've also got a scribing tool at the other end, which is quite handy. So same thing, we're marking out, just pop that in the centre of the radius. Try and do this without it moving everywhere. Get that on there like so. And just carefully scribe a line in. The benefit of using this tool is that it'll be perfectly round, or have a perfect radius to it, which is exactly what I want. So that's that. Well, I'll go over it again off camera because it's too hard to do to actually apply any sort of real pressure to it. What you can see is just described a little line in there. And what I'll do after that is I'll just join those up, again using that as my centre point. Just line up a straight edge along the edge of the arch there, and just draw the bricks down, move it round like so. I'll give it a slight taper, but again it'll be so minor you won't even notice. Right, I'll get that done and I'll be back shortly. And there we have it. Pretty simple technique, doesn't take too long to do, and looks pretty good. Get the other three done now, and then I can move on to the horizontal courses. So, see you in a mo. Welcome back. There we go. That's all the brick arches done now. Completely got all the intermediate ones done. And now I'm going to move on to the ladies' toilet block. So I've already scribed in the mortar courses, or the horizontal mortar courses, and I've got the brick dimensions marked out there. So when you come to do the bricks themselves, you only need to mark out the top ones and then the very lower ones, and then you can just line yourself up there, and then you're scribing every alternate one, so you'd start there, miss one, and so on till you get to the bottom. And then once you've done that, you don't need to mark the alternate ones, because you're literally just splitting them in half. It's not totally exact, but it's the quickest way of doing it, really, because it saves you marking everything out twice. It takes twice as long then. So I'll just quickly scribe in these end bricks, and I'll see you in a moment. So you can see now I've got the full length, like the stretch side of the brick gap scribed in there. Obviously very important that you get that to line up, because otherwise it'll look very wrong. So now we just need to do the alternating layers. So show you how that's done now, or how I do it anyway. So you literally just draw a line halfway in between. It's not exact, but as long as it looks apart, it doesn't really matter. So you can see it doesn't actually take that long to do. Looks like this bit's not that tall, really. The building itself is only single story, and then this toilet block for the ladies is probably only 10 feet high. You can use your old toothbrush just to scrub out the loose clay. And there we go. There's your bricks. Now at this point, they're very, very straight and angular. What I tend to do now is just go round them, just sort of deepen the gap, or widen it, just sort of round off the bricks a little. Just helps add a little bit more realism. It's maybe slightly over the top, but as you'll see when I paint it later on, it adds to the effect of it looking like an old run-down building. So just add a touch more realism to it. So yeah, that's how you scribe bricks. And there we go, there's the rest of the bricks scribed. As you can see, I've suffered a bit of damage. That's where I cut too deeply when I was doing the courses, but I can easily stick them back on. That's not too much of a worry. I think that will do it for this episode. Thanks for watching if you stuck out this far, and I'll see you on the next one.